Hey.
Yeah, there he is. Talking about the demo. In Maastricht Jazz Department, where we are continuing today's master research presentations. We will continue now with the presentation of Leo Mao, also known as Junteng Mao, and it will start with a video presentation, after which we will return here for the Q&A live in the room. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leo. Welcome to my thesis presentation, and today I would like to share to all of you my master thesis titled Motive in Contemporary Jazz Saxophone Performance, Patrick Bartley's Approach to Improvisation and Stylistic Integration. So first, what is motive? In jazz, a motive is a short, recurrent musical idea, a brief melody, rhythm, or combination of both that serves as the foundational building block of an improvisation or a composition. It has a specific shape, interval, or rhythmic feel that makes it recognizable. Who is Patrick Bartley? Patrick Bartley Jr., an American alto saxophonist, composer, and educator who has emerged as a significant voice in contemporary jazz. Recognized for his rigorous adherence to the jazz tradition, coupled with a distinctly modern vernacular, Bartley occupies a unique architectural space within the current musical landscape. Introduction. For me, Patrick Bartley is an amazing saxophonist, and he is also my current favorite alto saxophone player. His performances are always full of emotion, and his improvisations are always very interesting and melodic. Therefore, I really want to explore his strategies and concepts. Here are my main question and sub-questions. Main question: what are Patrick Bartley's ideas on employing motive in improvisation? How does Patrick Bartley integrate other music styles elements into jazz improvisation? Final account, an original exercise book. Sub-question 1. How does Patrick Bartley employ articulation to make his improvisation sound so unique and intriguing? Sub-question 2. How does Patrick Bartley create his lines to avoid excessive repetition while maintaining a sense of regularity? Sub-question 3. What strategies does Patrick Bartley employ in the use of rhythm? Methodology 1. Selection for analysis. To ensure methodological comprehensiveness, the selected repertoire was deliberately sampled across a spectrum of tempos and stylistic orientations. I chose 5 songs in total. After You've Gone, Top of My Head, Sing in the Rain, My Little Suede Shoes, and The Way You Look Tonight. They are all standards, and next I will place a part of each song's video in the order listed. 2. Transcription and analysis. The next step in my research is to listen to the selected pieces and to find the phrases that contain the motive, then transcribe them. After transcribing, I analyzed every phrase to find what kind of motive did Bartley employ and what is his concept and the strategy. Three, application and creation. The final step is to combine the conclusions I've reached with the actual exercises to create new exercises. I collected these exercises together to form an exercise book. Results and conclusions. Through the analysis of each phrase, I have reached in total of 6 strategies and concepts that Bartley employed in his improvisation. I will present each conclusion along with the most representative pieces and the analysis corresponding to it. 1. Reductive thinking. In contrast to the prevailing tendency among jazz musicians to complexify harmonic progressions, Bartley adopts a distinctly contrary approach. During motivic construction, he exhibits a pronounced preference for simplifying harmonic movement, perceiving chord progression through the lens of their most fundamental, essential functions. This reductive mindset effectively alleviates cognitive load, thereby locating greater conceptual space for the meticulous development of melodic contour and rhythmic architecture. Consequently, while his motives inherently possess an accessible and highly appealing lyricism, they invariably succeed in delineating the underlying harmonic coloration with absolute clarity. This segment is from Sing in the Rain. From the audio, we can clearly hear that Bartley performed a very melodic improvisation. The key point, I believe, lies in the way he views chord progressions. In this chord progression, there are many 2-5-1 patterns. However, if we think about it chord by chord, when playing, we often can't help but play licks or patterns on these 2-5-1 patterns. But if we simplify our thinking and start from the most basic chord progression functions to think, we will find that this chord progression goes from tonic function to subdominic function to dominic function and finally back to tonic function. Thinking and playing in this way, our musical phrases tend to be simpler but more melodic. Meanwhile, I would like to introduce the steps I took in analyzing the phrases in this research. Usually, the first step is to mark each motive and the key notes with different colored boxes. The second step is to analyze the special features of this motive or phrase from the aspects of melody, rhythm, and the chords, in order to record Bartley's strategies and concepts. Finally, summarize and use the parts that I think can be used for practice to create new exercise. For example, I think the rhythmic motive in the yellow box is very useful. So I create the diminished scale exercise based on this. And of course, it can be any other scales or intervals. The most important thing is to understand the concept. 2. Micro variation. Bartley actively subjects his motives to subtle modifications. This includes executing minimal alterations to specific targets, pitches, dictated by shifting harmonies, alongside rhythmic and articulatory variations. Crucially, these manipulations never compromise the foundational integrity of the original motivic template, but precluding exact duplication. These micro-variations effectively sustain a perpetual sense of novelty throughout his improvisations. This excerpt is from After You've Gone. The part in the red box are the basic motives. However, the chords are constantly changing, so how can we ensure the continuity and development of the motive? Bartley merely changed the few of the notes circled in the diagram to become the chord tones corresponding to the chords, thereby ensuring the continuity of the motive with the smallest change while also perfectly interpreting the quality of the chords. Below is also the exercise that I constructed based on the second motive. 3. Application of contrast. Bartley deliberately engineers structural contrast both within the construction of a single motive and across adjacent motive phrases. Within a singular motive, he frequently generates contrast through the deployment of expansive intervallic ellipse, the juxtaposition of sustained notes and rapid subdivisions, and sudden rhythmic shifts. Across adjacent phrases, he demonstrates a pronounced propensity for directional reversal. If an antecedent phrase features an ascending linear trajectory, the subsequent motive will highly likely be constructed with a descending melodic contour. This tragic application of contrast profoundly enriched his overall improvisation, augmenting both its structural narrative and oral engagements. In this section, Bartley mainly developed the motive based on two notes from the D major pentatonic scale. I've marked the trend of the melody with arrows. It can be observed that the overall trend is downward first and then upward, and in the second line, it is upward first and then downward. Thus, it can be seen that Bartley is good at using contrast to make the entire phrase sound more flexible and interesting. The practice below is based on the phrase in the green box and is very suitable for practicing the pentatonic scale. 4. Motivic extension. Following the initial presentation of a motive, Bartley actively subjects it to extension and development. This is often achieved by preserving the core motivic elements while executing a rhythmic reorganization. The purpose of this extension is twofold. It facilitates a seamless transition into the subsequent phrase, effectively serving as a preparatory gesture, or alternatively, it allows the original motive to evolutionarily develop into a distinctly new motivic idea. This is a good example of how Bartley extended the motive. The red box represents the initial motive, and it is quite obvious that he constructed a very short motive using the notes E, G, and B flat. However, repeating it continuously would be rather boring. Therefore, starting from the fifth bar, he extended the initial motive as shown in the green box. The sequence of constructing from bottom to top with E, G, B flat was changed to E, B flat, E, G, B flat in a cyclic order. At the same time, he also changed the rhythm and added some variations, thereby enhancing the overall mood and setting the stage for the next line. 5. Application of hip-hop elements. By translating the end rhyme schemes and discrete, fixed rhythmic blocks characteristic of hip-hop rap into jazz improvisation, Bartley achieved striking structural symmetry within his phrasing when combined with motivic deployment. This stylistic fusion endowed his lines with a highly idiosyncratic and compelling character. These 4 clips are taken from After You've Gone, Top of My Head, and The Way You Look Tonight. Before I started this research, whenever I listened to Bartley's improvisation, his phrasing always gave me a strong sense of rhythm and rhyming. Around that same time, I was listening to a lot of hip-hop music. Then I saw in one of Bartley's videos that he also listened to hip-hop frequently. A thought suddenly hit me. Could he be applying the concept of rapping to his jazz improvisation? So I transcribed the rhythm of a vocal rap section from a hip-hop track I was listening to at the time, called Aquatic Mind, as you can see in the figure on the right. A major characteristic of rap is, of course, rhyming. Instruments cannot pronounce letters, but they can simulate rhyming through rhythm and pitch. Now think back to the audio we just heard and look at the notation. You will notice that in the first clip, Bartley's 2 phrases have a very similar structure. They start on the same note and end on the same note. If you look at the circle parts, the rhythmic patterns, the shapes, and even where they are placed in the measure are identical. Look at the second phrase. Again, it starts with consecutive 8 notes and end with a quarter note. These quarter notes land on the exact same spot in each bar. It's just like rhyming in rap. Now you might think this is just a coincidence if it's from the same song. But if we look at clip 3 and 4 from completely different songs, you can clearly see that the structures before and after the phrases are basically the same. And there are many more examples of him playing like this. After analyzing this, I actually tried improvising myself using this rap mindset. When I listened back to the recording, I found that my phrasing was completely different from before. My older phrases were much more linear, but with the rap mindset, the phrases became more blocky rhythmically, the rhythms were more varied, and the connection between the front and back phrases became much tighter. I think this is a really novel, yet highly practical, conceptual approach. Six, stylistic adaptability. Bartley demonstrates a high degree of stylistic adaptability, tailoring his strategies to the specific stylistic profile of each repertoire. Within the traditional jazz repertoire, he prioritizes conventional jazz vocabulary and employs more traditional articulatory approaches. Conversely, in groove-oriented tracks, he actively assimilates pop elements, such as J-pop melodies, relies more heavily on pentatonic and blues scales, and frequently utilized embellishments and glissandi. In this rhythmic context, his articulation distinctly shifts towards shorter, more percussive notes, most notably through the frequent application of staccato. first two segments are from top of my head, combining the audio with the notation. You can clearly feel that Bartley's tone and phrasing take on a much more pop music flavor. He basically only uses the A minor pentatonic scale and the C major scale. In terms of articulation, he frequently uses staccato to give the whole phrase a stronger groove. He also uses a lot of embellishments to make the phrasing smoother. Even in a traditional standard like My Little Sweet Shoes, which is third clip, he still uses minor glissandos, the minor blues scale, and some common pop licks, as shown in the circles. By combining this with motivic development, he makes his improvisation really stand out, adding a great sense of agility to the overall music. This fully demonstrates Bartley's strong stylistic adaptability, and this served as true inspiration for us. Don't get bogged down by the boundaries of music styles, just experiment boldly. Discussion 1. A new paradigm for stylistic integration. In contemporary music, the integration of styles often remains at a superficial level, mainly limited to the borrowing of rhythm patterns or instrument sounds. However, Bartley transplanted the structural logic inspired by rap into jazz improvisation. This approach established a highly portable framework that can be expanded and applied, drawing structural inspiration from other different music genres, thereby greatly expanding the conceptual and the performance domains of contemporary improvisers. 2. Deconstructing the jazz vs pop dichotomy. Contemporary young musicians frequently find themselves caught in a dilemma between preserving a perceived jazz authenticity and incorporating contemporary elements. Within certain jazz discourse, the integration of pop elements often carries an unwarranted stigma. However, Bartley's practice offers a compelling resolution to this dichotomy. His work serves as a definitive case study demonstrating that pop elements can be organically synthesized while remaining firmly rooted in jazz foundations. Crucially, this does not necessitate the abandonment of core jazz logic or syntax. Rather, it embodies the very inclusive, open-minded paradigm that has continuously driven the evolution of jazz. 3. Limitations of the research. Firstly, the analysis of the corpus is limited to only 5 specific pieces of music. Since Bartley is also a prolific composer, future research might be able to gain different insights by analyzing the way he employs his motives in his original works. Secondly, this study relies on external auditory and transcription-based analysis, lacking supplementary data such as the results of direct interviews with Bartley regarding his cognitive processes during the improvisation process. Perhaps, in the future, a face-to-face interview with him could be conducted to obtain his own opinions. That's all. Thank you for watching.
Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome back to the live room. Thank you, Leo, for your presentation. We are going into the Q&A part of the situation here, and I would like to start with the supervisor once again. Greg, what did you have as a question?
So yeah, I'll be even more curious about hip hop, hip hop integration in Patrick Bartley's improvisation, since I guess it's a great thing for many musicians, like the open-minded approach. So maybe you could even say like a little bit more about this, and did you go further with your with your experimentation, or would you like to go further, even like later? So I would be curious.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Bartley is not like simply just take like hip hop's like groove or something rhythm and apply into the jazz improvisation. He's actually take the concepts of or rules of the rap, like so make his improvisation becomes more interesting because like as usual. So I was also like play saxophone and my lines was usually more like linear as the lines, but if we like really listen to Patrick's improvisation, and we'll find a lot of like blocky things, and so it's also that's what the concept changed the improvisation, the way of improvisation. So I would say, yeah, I'm also I practice a lot, and in this concept, and I do find that I'm also like when I was thinking in rap and to play the improvisation, I was quite changed a lot. And when I listen back to the recording, I will find, oh, it's quite like similar, like what Patrick did. So in the future, of course, I will still like take a research on that to see what's more. Maybe there are more possibility. So. No.
Cool. Nice. Great. Mm-hmm.
Any questions on my other side?
Okay, yeah, I have. Yeah, first of all, congratulations for your presentation. I was thinking, I mean, you did a lot of analysis on motifs on the music, what I like it. I saw also on your master thesis, but I might have misread or something. It has been confusing for me, and probably this is it might be my fault. But I want to ask, what exactly do you mean with the colors that you are putting on when you are presenting the motif?
Oh, yeah. The colors just like to distinguish the different motives, because like in the excerpt might be there like 8 bars, but there might be like 3 or 4 motives in there. So I just use different color to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, I have a follow-up on your question. So with the colors, what you are showing us is in pink one motif, in red another motif, and in green another motif.
Yeah.
This has happened.
Yeah.
So I wonder on this question that was coming to my mind. And let me be a theoretician for a second. If a motif can a motif have different phrases and shapes and different duration and still be a motif, in your opinion, or not?
Yeah, I think it's still a motive. Just as I said, like my research is not about like how to create a motive, but it's how can we do to develop this motive. So like if this, just as I mentioned in the his strategies, he will do a lot of motive extension. So that's what the question you just asked. If the motive shape is changed a lot, but it's still, if it still originated to the first motive, then I think it's still the same motive, but just after the extension. Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and how do you? I mean, how do you relate to that? I mean, in your playing, or in your composition, or in your band, how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm not do a lot of relate this to my composition, but to my practical like exercise and play. I would do like think when I was playing. I would think, oh, like if I play a motive first, and I will think the strategies, and then sometimes I just subconsciously like just use it in my real play. So.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, so you've shown a nice example of how you did your analysis, and I was wondering, how such analysis would lead to the exercises that you created. Could you elaborate on that? Because you created exercises
Yeah.
coming out of this approach, right?
Yeah.
So I guess they came out of the analysis that you did. Is that a correct
Yeah.
assumption?
It's not completely from the analysis what I did, but I mean, if I I will first analyze the phrase, and if there is a good good ideas when he played, so I just take them. It's no matter like what is related to the analysis or what, but I think if it is like useful, then I will take it to the book and make it like bigger and bigger and for exercise. So.
Okay, so you took basically the starting points of the exercises all come from the analysis material, from the transcriptions.
Yeah.
But you may have taken them a bit your own way, or something.
Yeah.
Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. But did you also use this type of, for instance, referring to the rap concept and the rhyming?
Yeah.
Did you turn that into exercises? This type of concept?
Yeah, but I didn't show in the video, but actually I did in practical. I did a lot of like when I think it was I did a lot of rap exercise and use the exercise I just gathered. So yeah.
Yeah. So you showed from the rap song, you showed the rhythmical transcription, but I noticed the lyrics were not with it.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you analyzed the text and the rhyme to just show the comparison between the text rhyme and his rhyme, because actually it was very clear for me with the musical analysis, like what you were marking, why you considered it rhyme-like.
No.
But I was sort of missing the comparison now. Did you show this or not quite?
Not quite, because I think it's like everybody knows like rap is more about like rhyming and rhythmic stuff. So so I just didn't show
You
it.
left that a bit to the obvious.
Yeah.
That's what you think. Okay. Any more questions? No? Yes, I see one.
Did
Tom?
you, by any chance, think of taking one standard, improvising over it before doing this research, and then improvising it after your research to see how you're...
Yeah, actually I did that. How to say that? Actually, when I do this research, I already like listened to After You've Gone, Patrick version, but at that time I don't think too much, and I just quite like this song, and I played it, and after I did this research, and so I have a lot of other ideas, and I try this song again, and I have the recording, and I compare this new with the older one, and I find it's quite different. So yeah.
Could you elaborate on the difference? What is different?
Yeah, basically I would say the rhythm, still the rhythm. So
Yeah.
just as I said, I usually like play a lot of like linear lines.
Yeah.
But now it's quite blocky. Like I play a lot of rhythm instead of like melody or something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I see no more questions. That means we have a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. All right. Thank you for watching, and that sums it up for today. We will continue our research presentations next week. The 2nd of June, we'll hold 3 more presentations. Thank you. Thank you all.